you would see that he and his colleagues established that institution. And we rely on that institution for what is good and wholesome medicine. But that institution has at its roots, it doesn't have a good foundation for us. It doesn't have a good foundation for us because they weren't looking out for us. And when you think about the number of us that are suffering from health challenges, something's wrong. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that, wait, but something's not right. Why is it that so many of us have high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease? Why is it that all of a sudden now they're vaccinating all of us? Why is it that autism is at the levels that it is now? Why is it that everybody needs to be vaccinated? Why is it that we're seeing the damage that's being done, but you all keep on telling us that this is something that needs to happen? And then you find people in these same circles are advocates for population reduction and realizing that, we're growing too fast, and if we keep growing it this way, we're going to run out of food. And so you got an agenda out there. And I want you all to be mindful. Do your own research. You all can do your own research. I would tell you a great doctor to research is Dr. Joel Wallach. Dr. Joel Wallach. You research him and what he knows about what's going on between that whole college of German scientists that were brought here into the United States and pardoned and then allowed to teach at the universities and be a part of many of the organizations, major organizations within the medical world. You'd be surprised. But I say all that to say that there was a reason why, it's still commonplace that black men don't go to the doctor, right? And I would say it's not just that we're afraid, but black men know game, right? So wait. You mean I need to take metformin? After all this, now I need to take metformin. I didn't need it yesterday. Right. I didn't need it last year. I didn't need it when I was a child. But now you're going to tell me I need to take metformin for something that's going on? You mean I can't defeat this naturally? So we know game. And so many times we're not as inclined to engage and just let somebody put something inside of us, right? And we've been through all the experience. We know about the syphilis experiment. And we know about what's going on. We know AIDS didn't come from nobody sleeping with no green monkey in Africa, right? But that was what they wanted to convince us to believe. And, we saw that. So we've been awake but been challenged because it's like, well, where do we go? Because it appears to be the only place we go for help with regard to health. But what we created is the Take Charge of Your Health agenda, where we were giving people the information that they needed in order to do just that. You need to take charge of your own health. You need to be responsible for your health, and you need to start with what you're eating. So I'm a big proponent. You all are probably in the same boat with me. I'm a big proponent of screenings. Y'all have screenings at your churches, right? Right. Screenings in your neighborhood, screenings at the local hospitals, screenings in your community centers. We can see the value in that, right? Yes. Right. But I bet you the screening that I support isn't the screening that you support. Uh-oh. Because the screening that we have going on at our churches and community centers, in my opinion, is a dragnet. Okay. That's a dragnet. Okay. They're coming through our community to see how many of us at that moment have high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, whatever other issues they can find so they can start you on some chemicals. Right. My what I propose that we engage is screening your plate. Don't eat the food that gives you the condition that you're trying to avoid. I don't care how good it tastes. I don't care how good some cinnamon buns from 7-Eleven on your way to work. Not just any cinnamon bun, but the one in the corner with the extra sugar on it. I don't care how good it tastes. If that's what's going to cause you to get high blood pressure, diabetes, the list goes on, don't do it. That's right. So we need to change what we see when we look in the mirror. Yeah. You got to change who you're seeing when you look in the mirror because you got a responsibility. And you have to, if you don't, you have to have a purpose. So find one if you don't have one. Because if you don't have a purpose and you don't have an agenda and if you don't have any self-worth and self-value, then you'll go for anything. And it won't even matter. Don't matter because I ain't worth nothing anyway. And then I want you all also to bear in mind, and I know this gets tough because we've decided that we want to emotionally attach ourselves to some of our beliefs, don't we? Yes. We attach our emotions to some beliefs and we are so convicted and we so believe what it is that we believe that we'll fight somebody over what we believe. But what if what you believe is not the truth? That's right. What if what you believe was given to you by the institution that wanted you to not get what you was trying to get when you were seeking out what you was trying to get in the first place?
That's right.
And we some believing folk, and we believe hard. I remember when I was a child and my brother presented to me the idea. He brought to me an atlas. He said, look, these are the countries that are mentioned in the Bible. All these countries are found in this region of the world, and all these people in this region of the world were people of color. They were all black people. So how in the world did Jesus end up being white? And I remember I felt like I wanted to kill my brother. Because I was like, you are not about to damage my relationship. You know, I'm getting that reverend voice. You're not about to damage my relationship with Jesus. That ain't about to happen today, brother. And I was angry. I was like, no, you're not about to do this to me. And then he left me in the room. He said, go ahead. You just look at that. You keep looking at that and you figure out how this works into that scenario. And it bothered me. It bothered me on three levels. One, because I had a real close relationship with that thing that I believed in. Y'all with me?
Right.
I had a real close. There was nobody closer to me than what I believed in. The people that I saw could touch, feel, talk to, hug, and whatever else. No, they couldn't compare to the relationship that I had with that which I believed existed. Strange, isn't it? But anyway, so that bothered me. The other part that bothered me is like, no. I've already seen the image. It has been imprinted in my mind. It's been encoded. I know what to expect when the cloud comes down. I know who to be looking for because I don't want to get it twisted. I want to go to the right dude. So it had already been imprinted into my head. And it bothered me that I was about to let go of that. I was going to have to deal with the embarrassment of saying, I don't believe what I believed for the last 15 years of my life. I believe something different now. And so, but that's the same way with it all. It's like when we look up now, and I challenge you. And this is going to be tough because it's going to change the way you perceive me with the things that I'm about to challenge you with. I challenge you. The earth was flat, right? Until some guys decided that the earth was round. But the guys who decided that the earth was round had no way of proving that the earth was round. They just had concluded in their minds based on whatever it is that they needed to base it on, that the earth was round. But prior to that, where they got all of their knowledge from Timbuktu and wherever else they got it, because that was where all the knowledge centers were on the continent back then, the knowledge that they were getting out then was that the earth was flat. So Copernicus, a scientist, had determined that no, the earth is round and it's moving through the universe at 16,000 miles and 93,000 miles is spinning and so on and so forth. And all of this was something that we believed, but nobody could prove it. And then they created this globe and we believed that that was really how everything was really geographically located. I challenge you. Be careful what you believe. Be careful how stuck we are on things that it's just got to be the case. Because when I fly on a plane, I can see. Just be careful what you believe. Not only that, things have happened in the United States of America. Not only have we seen where, and I'm going to get back to the health space in just a minute, but we know what happened on 9/11, wasn't right? We know something. No, that ain't right. No, that building don't come down like that. And then when the guys in the news started saying, well, all the guys that y'all say were flying the plane are still alive. They're in Saudi Arabia. Well, wait a minute. How did that happen? And then what do you believe? What do you believe at that point? But we know that no building is going to come down like that. It didn't take me going to no school of architecture or demolition to know that, oh, hell no. That didn't just happen. And then the building 7 just came down, and all of a sudden everybody was just like, oh my goodness, these awful people. Look at what they've done to our country. And of course it was the setup. If you believe what you didn't believe on that day, because on that day we was all convinced that this is what happened. And these were terrible people and they needed to be removed from the planet. Until you look up and you realize, oh, maybe the terrible people were the ones that were telling you that those people were terrible. And then you start looking at what's happened in the United States of America with regard to media and who controls the media. And the people that control the media, you find out, well, they also control the government. And not only do they control the government, but they control Hollywood. So they can control how you're being entertained. They can control, the information that you're getting. So we're looking at news that we think is legitimate news. You think that the guy that's on there crying, talking about, I lost my whole family. Only to find out that somewhere along the way, further down in his life, somebody says, oh yeah, he's a Hollywood actor. And that was a performance. And I challenge you, be careful what you believe in. Be careful how what you believe is either weakening you or strengthening you.
That's right.
Now let's jump back into the health space. And I left off where we were saying, these chemicals, when you get a headache, it's not a deficiency of Excedrin. So why do you take it? It's not a deficiency of Tylenol. So why do you take it? Right? When you're suffering from depression, you don't need prednisone. Oh, not prednisone. What is it? What's that stuff that you take?
Prozac.
Prozac, right.
You don't need Prozac. You didn't have a deficiency of Prozac. That isn't why you find yourself now suffering like that. But when you don't get sufficient nutrient into the body, you find that the body doesn't function as well as it should. So all of our parents, grandparents, aunties, and uncles that are on chemicals, you'd be surprised what you can do to help them overcome that. First, you got to get into their head.
That's right.
You got to get into their head. So that's why we created the eLife Media and eLife Studios, because we realized that the information needed to get beyond this building. It needed to go out so that more people would be seeded with the information, so that when they come through the door, they wouldn't come through the door with their convictions and belief systems so caught up in the system that we know is destroying them and is causing them to have really bad endings. So we said, let's do this. So we wanted to control the content of the media. And if we control the content of the media, I would make all of you all look wonderful. I would make you all look wonderful, and I would present people to you that would make you feel good about yourself. Are y'all with me?
Yeah.
So there wouldn't be any negative news that would be coming out to make you feel bad about yourself. There would be nothing but positive news that would make you feel good about yourself, so that you would, in the pursuit of doing whatever it is that you have to do that's in your purpose, that you would feel better about accomplishing it, and you would be more successful at it. So that's what we sought out to do with the eLife Media Studios. And all of these, when I get to the end of my presentation, I'm going to talk to you about how I'm wanting to. I've been successful. I've been successful in the restaurant space. I feel like I'm reasonably successful. I think I could ride this thing out, but I don't want to ride it out alone. I don't want to ride on this alone. I don't want it to be. There's a brother back in the DMV. He has a restaurant. He's really successful, and boom, and we all go to his restaurant and support him. No, I want to talk about, and I'll get to that a little later. But I want to talk about my desire to have a partnership with the community. I want to build a partnership with the community because I want to help you, and I want you to help me. I want you to give me the confidence to know that this ain't no flash in the pan. We're gonna be here for a minute, and we got great work to do. We also know that many of us, there's some folks that back in the day, when we was in Southeast, right? There's some folks that never went anyplace else. It's like, I don't go nowhere in the Southeast. I don't go to Maryland. I don't go to Maryland. Matter of fact, we took a family vacation. We went down to Sandy Point. Y'all remember that? Yeah, we going down to Sandy Point, going down to the water's edge. Down there, that's where the Atlantic or the Pacific, one of them is out there. We're gonna go out there. That's when we take our vacations. We set up. Everybody else will be there for a day. We look like we there for like the rest of our lives. We got everything. We're gonna be there. We're gonna get a hotel and we're gonna stay down here. Well, okay, we'll go home and then come back because we couldn't afford this in 2 minutes. So yeah, you know how it went. But that was a vacation for us, but now what we're doing is we're bringing global exposure. I want you all to be seen all over the world, and I want people all over the world. I want to bring them to you so that you all know that there are people that look just like you, think just like you, want the same things that you want. And a big deal in all of this are confounded by the same institutions that are destroying their health, their economics, and everything else. They're confounded by those same institutions, and we need to be linking on so that we can bolster and strengthen one another, right?
Yes.
So I said, okay, let's use that for the purposes of that. And we want to take our media back. We saw what happened to BET. There was one time when we had hopes, BET might just be, really black entertainment, and empowerment television. But it failed us, right? It made a lot of money, It didn't fail in that department, but it failed us in the department of empowering us as a community. That should have been a channel through which all of us were empowered. You know, I'd love to have a show on BET so I could reach that audience, so that I could literally watch day by day as people say, I'm no longer taking metformin, Doc. I'm not taking it anymore. And I want to say now, because I know it's important for somebody out there, and especially for those of us who work in the government, federal government agencies, I am not a medical doctor. I'm a naturopath. I'm a roots doctor. I'm a bushman, right? We go out into the woods and I say, okay, yeah, you need to take some of that bark and some of those leaves, and you need to take some of that dirt over there, and we're going to stir this up, we're going to put this in the pot, we're going to drink this and watch what happens, and people get better. I grew up in a family where, you know, and you all can chime in, but when I would get a cut, you know, I get a cut, and I come in the house, have a cut, my grandmother might not have a Band-Aid. What would she do?
Aloe vera.
She what? No.
Aloe vera.
We was a little lower on the income level. We didn't have peroxide, and we didn't have aloe vera.
The Curacone.
No, the Curacone we did have, but that we had to use that sparingly. Grandma would grab some cobweb out of the corner and put it inside of the wound, and it would close the wound.
Right. That's right.
And none of us don't know that, but that stuff used to work. I would be looking like, Granny, no, tell me now. You gonna do what with that? You gonna put that? It's dirty, Granny. You gonna put that in there? And then before I know it, it's in there. And how's it feel? It's feeling a little better. It's feeling better. And that's not the only thing. But some of y'all grew up in families where your grandmothers used onions, and y'all know we used onions for everything. You know, you sit here. You know, I would have an onion cut in half in my bedroom on both sides of the bed. Because she said it would pull the poisons out of my body. I'd have onions in my sock up under my feet. I'd have a sock wrapped around my neck with an onion inside of it with Absorbine Junior and Vicks Vapor Rub all around my neck and on my back and on my chest. And she'd put it all up in my nose. And then she'd stick her finger in it like this. And what would she ask me to do? Eat it! And, you know, I was an intelligent young man. So I said, Granny, it says, you know, not to be consumed, you know, not for oral ingestion or whatever the expression was. And my grandmother was a teacher, and she had hands that were bigger than mine. And when she told me that I was going to do something, I learned very early on in life, oh, no, that was what was going to happen. So sure enough, many a night, I ate Vicks off my grandmother's finger. And one thing was for sure, the next morning is I was going to be well, and I was going to stink like onions. But I would always be well. You know, I was one of those children who didn't miss school days, you know, because I was well. I came from that household where not only did we use the acid-fitted bag. Y'all familiar with that? Little stinky bag you wear. I've never known what was in that bag. But we wore that bag, and it made us well, right? And Father John, right? And triple sixes, right? Some of y'all are familiar. Now all y'all know is Robitussin, Tylenol, you know, some Bayer aspirin, or call a doctor, right? Now, it was back in the day when, you know, those weren't the options. But they always made us well. You know, what was that, onion syrup? You know, I had convinced myself that tasted good. And can I get the onion syrup? You know, I know you're going to do all the other onions, but can I get onion syrup? Castor oil. And castor oil was crazy because I used to like it. I would be all of us would be in the house, my cousins and everybody. Granny, don't forget us to give her the castor oil. Oh, I'm like, oh man, what's wrong with you? Don't remind her of that. I said, I like castor oil though. And it wasn't until my cousin did one of those projectile throw up scenes that I would never forget. And she did it because of the castor oil. I stopped liking it at that point. But prior to that, I used to like, hey, Granny, you forgot? Give me my castor oil. What else? Kale syrup, right? Mm-hmm. You know, all these things that we did. What's the fish oil? Cod liver oil. All of those things that we did and maintain health inside of our bodies. We've gotten away from that. So it's not that I want to get back to all of that. But some of that we need to go back to. Because what we're doing now is not working. Because masking and treating illness is not the way we should go forward. Right. You should strengthen the body's immune system to defeat. Yes. Why is cancer running so rampant in our community? Because everything we take is an immune suppressant. Everything. Sudafed, Actifed, Robitussin. I'm advertising for them. I'm going to stop saying their names. Y'all know them. We taking immune suppressants. And then we're drinking sugar all day, all night, eating sugar all day and all night. And you know, sugar suppresses the immune system on top of that. And it's your immune system that protects you. So what we got to do is just stop. Stop doing those things that are contributing to our poor health. And so those are going to be some of the things that we talk about. And I want to jump into, because I don't want to hold you all long, but I want to tell you all about where we are now. Some of you all have heard, and this isn't in this presentation, but some of you all have heard the news. Somebody suing me for $3 million to take my business. Did y'all know that?
No.
Some of y'all. Okay. So yeah, and without going into a whole lot of details, he feels like he has a legitimate case, and I feel like he doesn't. But in any event, you know, this thing has me tied up in court since 2011. Still in court, fighting this battle. Not hundreds, probably close to 100, but dollars in legal fees. Unnecessarily that I've had to spend to try to just hold on to this, right? And that's, you know, again, that's why we wanted to bring emphasis to the fact. This all started in my garage. And I've grown this business to the point that it's not a day that you've been in this business that you haven't seen me, more than likely. And the guy that's suing me, there's not a day that you've been in this restaurant and you saw him. Never. You know, but anyway, that's to be resolved in court. But I wanted to let you all know that we're good. Because we're going to be good anyway.
Yes, yes.
We're going to be good anyway. It doesn't matter what happens. Because I know what I have here, and I know I got y'all. And I know with this, and y'all, and that staff in there, because that's the real, those are the folk behind the man.
Yes, yes.
It isn't that I don't know how to make the mac. It isn't that I didn't tell the staff, look, we got to make cashew mac. Anybody tried the cashew mac?
It's good.
Yeah. I said, no, we got to get away from the soy because I'm hearing that too much. So we need to make this cashew mac.
Yes.
And not only did we make the cashew mac, but see, I'm gluten intolerant. So I can't consume gluten at all. So I couldn't even eat my macaroni and cheese until I said, okay, look, we got to make the gluten-free, soy-free, nut-free, and whatever else. We do all that. So now I can eat my own macaroni and cheese.
There we go.
But we do these things in an effort to give you a ray of hope that you can get out of the predicament that you're in. Because we know that many of the conditions that you suffer from are as a result of inflammation, aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't they? Many of you. It's inflammatory conditions that you suffer from. So if you can begin to pull back on some of the inflammatory food that you're consuming, you're going to find that you're going to get better.
Yes.
And you're going to continually get better. And we want to do this as a community. So we've created this concept called the Wellness Warriors. And the Wellness Warriors is I want to start meeting with everybody, you know, if it's once a month, if it's once a week, I don't know what the schedule is going to be, but we want to start meeting with people so that we get a chance to hear what you got, what you think you got, or either how you overcame what you used to have. Because we've overcome it. Some of y'all have had cancer and you defeated it and don't even know that you did it. Some of y'all have had high blood pressure and diabetes and you've overcome it. And you think, you know, you're ready to give some I guess praise is probably the right expression, but really it's you that did the work. You did the work. You stopped eating the food that was contributing to the problem. It's not the chemicals that helped you. It was you. You said, you know what, I'm not going to eat that anymore.
That's right.
And see, for me, I have arthritis. I have rheumatoid arthritis. You know, the one that has you bent up, right? And if I eat gluten, my fingers are in pain. They're in pain. So I can't consume. I don't have a chance to, like, you know, eat a little something and go for a couple months, and I'm good for a couple months to eat. No, if I eat it today, I'm going to be in pain tomorrow, which is kind of a good thing because I don't get caught up in doing it for a long period of time. But you have to understand that when our bodies are sending off this signal to us to let us know that, okay, enough is enough, we got to stop. That's one of the first things we should do is just pull back, stop. Oh, wait a minute, let me pull back. Because high blood pressure is not natural. That's not something that you should get. Diabetes is not something that you should get. You know, and right now I'm going through a fast. And this would be one of those things that we can do amongst the Wellness Warriors. I'm fasting from all sweet beverages. And that ain't easy. Trust me. It's not easy. And not only sweet beverages, but sweet food. So any sweet processed food. I'll eat some fruit. But sweet processed foods I'm not eating. And that's not easy. I already don't eat gluten. I already don't eat meat, right? So you got all these things that I don't eat. And many of you have witnessed because I've begun to lose more weight. And I'm losing that weight because I was full of fat trying to protect my organs from all these toxins that I was getting from these sugary beverages. Because at some point you can overdo it, right? And trust me, when you're running 3 restaurants and you got a staff of 50 people and you got the federal government, the DC government, the Maryland government, and you got all kinds of other stuff that's going on. You got the ABBA board in DC and the liquor board in Prince George's County, all them people calling you up and challenging you and making sure all your stuff is correct. You get stressed out. So eating some ice cream is like, whoa, this is a good experience. So and running a restaurant where I got all of that, okay, we locking up now. Now it's all mine. It is all mine. I'm going to town. And that's what I would do. I would eat and I would drink the sweet beverages, and they would make me feel so good for that moment. But then I started witnessing. I was like, wait a minute, something's not happening right. My body's starting to give me the same symptoms that I hear from other people who are challenged with this or that or what have you. I said, okay, I got to pull back. So I stopped. So it's been since December 1 I haven't consumed a sweet food or beverage. And I expect to go until March 1. And I hopefully will continue on beyond that. But I'm doing it because I know that I have to blaze a trail. I have to set the example, because the last thing I need to do is come up sick. Because, there's a whole lot of people, when I come up sick, they be like, man, I've been eating healthy and he got sick. Man, let's go to McDonald's right now and give me a McRib. So, and I want people to understand, that it's not always easy for me. I've been a vegan for 41 years. 41 years. And I was a vegan back when vegan food, literally, you had to have a really good imagination. Because my mother would fry a piece of tofu, and she would put mustard and ketchup on it and put it in some bread, and that would be a hamburger, right? She would take that same tofu and put some kelp on it and some Old Bay seasoning, and it would be a fish sandwich. Or she would take that same tofu and put some A1 on it, and it would be a steak. We had to have a good imagination, so you all are blessed. That y'all got places that are making stuff taste like, look like, and have the same texture as the food that you're accustomed to. But what we're doing with the support group is I want us to begin to talk more. There's a brother in here right now with prostate cancer, and you got it. You've already been diagnosed. You got it. You're in here, and you're not talking to anybody. Why? You should be talking to me. You should be talking to the other brothers, because we want to know what you're experiencing, and we want to give you support and help. And there's probably 10 of you in here with either high blood pressure, diabetes, or cholesterol. We should be talking, because we can help one another. I know something that you don't know. Somebody else has been through something that you're going through, that they can tell you what they did that got them different results than the results that you're going to get if you don't do anything. We have to begin to come together and not feel like, oh, I got this disease, that means I'm dirty. Or that means I'm not, acceptable, and I'm not going to make it. And God has chosen me to die. Or whatever it is, these death sentences that we come up with in our minds. Now, stop relying just on your medical doctor. Start coming to your family. Because that's what we used to do back in the day. You got sick, you went, hey, Granny, something ain't right. I got an itch. And Granny would tell, well, where's it at? And she would go through and she figured out, okay, well, then we got something for that. But now we don't talk to one another. We don't talk. And we have to support one another. So that's what the Wellness Warriors is about. And also something else that I do health consultations. I've got clients all over, Did health consultations for one of the celebrities' mother here recently, right here in Prince George's County. There's so much information in here. There's no reason why you should be suffering from anything. I just ask that you understand I paid for it. Don't stop me in the middle of the dining room and just ask me to download everything. Ask me whether I know something that can help you, and if I do, then let's sit down, let's talk it through. This is a business, and I'm in the business of getting people well. If you don't have any money, then we're gonna work it out. But if you do, then help me strengthen so that I can help more people. But I got the information, and if I don't have the information, you'd be surprised. The categories of diseases are like, what is it? Dehydration, inflammation, toxicity, nutritional deficiency, and there's one other one I can't think of at the moment. But that's all of them fit in those categories. So all you got to do, okay, you got high blood pressure. Okay, so you have an inflammatory condition as well as a toxic, condition. So we're going to address it just like that. And you find that people get well. they get well. So that's what we do in our consultations. But what we want to do, again, in my partnership, you all know something. How many people in this room don't know at least one person who's sick? Look around the room. And ain't nobody got their hands up. Because we all know somebody that's sick, or if you don't know, they already dead. Right? And we need to work to make our community healthier. And if you can help me, I want to help you. So that's where we talk about the community partnership. If you can help me find people who would be interested in getting the information that myself or my colleagues, because it's not just me, it's a whole bunch of us that have really good health information that can help people overcome the health challenges that they have, then I'd be interested in helping you in ways that could help improve your quality of life. So that's something that we do. We do the consultations. We also are creating a certification course so that I can download everything that I got in my head to help you know what you need to do for yourself and your family and your community. Because not everybody's going to have access to me all the time or somebody like me. So at some point, you're going to need your own knowledge. You're going to need to be able to, okay, great. I don't have access to the internet. I don't have my cell phone, but I know I heard about it. I read it. I know this works. Somebody told me. I went through the certification course, and I know that we can beat this. And we can do this. So that's what we're going to be offering in the certification course. Because the work that is being done against us, and you got to know there's a lot of work being done against us. I mentioned just one of them, but Crackdonald's, Murder King, Taco Hell, Wind Disease, Chokers, Bow Strangles, the International House of Pulmonary Heart Disease. You would think that those are places where you would go to eat. No, those are the places that you go to so that when the dragnet, also known as, this screening, right? The community screening activity, health screening, when that dragnet comes through, you show up red. So, got one, yep. You become an income opportunity. You become a human ATM machine, and there are many doctors out there waiting to swipe, right? So we do not only the training and the certification, but as it relates to our business and my desire to establish a partnership, I want you all to have what I have. I want you all to know what I know, but I want you all to give me a hedge of protection. And what I mean by that, I want to know that as I'm moving forward with my business, that I'm all of a sudden not going to wake up one day and it's like, whoa, where'd everybody go? Where's everything? It's all gone. It's done. And we have to understand the importance of supporting the institutions that support us. I don't care how much advertisement another place can do and promote and market and look pretty and all the rest of that. It's those institutions that are about you and supporting you and improving your quality of life that you have to be about supporting. And this isn't about black, this isn't about white, this is about what's supporting you. And if I was somebody who was involved in a business that supported you, then that would be what you would want to support, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to support you. Are y'all with me?
Yes.
So I need that. I need to have the confidence to know that I can launch out and say, okay, bet we can do this again. I'd love to open up more everlasting lives. I'd love to. We're looking at several locations in the area, and I'd love to open up more. But I'm not as confident as I was when I was 25, when I had the rest of my life, and there was a whole long life ahead of me. Now I'm 52, and I'm like, well, I can't take that risk because I don't know. The safety net isn't the same, And now I'm a lot heavier, because if I fall from, all of this, it's going to take a lot more to hold me up. But that's what we do, in creating that community partnership. But not only are you creating that hedge of protection around the business and what it is that we're doing here, but I want to be able to let you grow as we grow. You all have heard the expression that when the tide rises, so do all of the boats. I know I jacked it up. It probably goes a little different than that. But when the tide rises, why not it rise for you as well? If we are more successful, why not you be more successful? If we are able to generate more resources, why not you have more resources at the end of the day? Because I don't want you, I'm not a pastor standing up here looking to get a Bentley or a jet or whatever else, a mega house or a mega church or a mega restaurant. I'm looking to get in here and do what we can to help us get healthy, but not only help us get healthy with regard to our physical health, but when you get broke, all of a sudden, one of the first things we sacrifice is, well, I ain't eating there no more because I can't afford it. We got to go.